Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2017 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are live from McGilvery Speedway at 30th and High School in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. Tonight's show is presented by Joe Barlam, Honda HPD, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Verizon IndyCar Series. Founded in 1993 to spearhead Honda's entry into IndyCar racing, Honda Performance Development has overseen successful racing efforts at all levels of the sport, from karting and quarter midgets to IndyCar and prototype sports cars. HPD offers race engines and competition products for professional, amateur, and entry-level racers. For more information about HPD and the company's racing product lines, please visit hpd.honda.com. That's hpd.honda.com. I'm sure most of you have heard of John Andretti's new fight. The racing that he did, he fought every weekend, but now he's got a real battle. He has cancer. He is being treated with chemotherapy and will have some surgery in June after his daughter gets married. Dave Calabro went down there and has shot some pieces that are airing. The first one aired yesterday, and I'm sure it's on again tonight and tomorrow. Very well done. And we wish John nothing but the best. Come on up. Come on up, Jack. Yeah. This weekend was the Desert Diamond race from Phoenix Raceway. How many watched it? Was it a good race? Yeah, okay. All right, well, it was good. It was okay. I want to welcome the assistant crew chief for Leah Pritchard in the NHRA Top Fuel line with Don Schumacher Racing. Joe Barlam is here, and I want to wish them they went to the finals this weekend in the four wides. Best to him. And I am sad to say that the gentleman who put all this stuff together and videotapes the program, and it shows on Speedway Cable, Brett will be leaving. This is his last night. He's going to write a book on how to avoid working, how to turn the cameras on and they don't work. He's got it all made out. We're going to miss him. Be gone for 2 months, but thank you for what you've done. We certainly appreciate it. I want to remind you also that if you have aches and pains and you need to see a chiropractor, the one to see is Dr. Rob Schroeder. He is the best. You get an appointment, give him a call at 317-388-8755. He's up in the Pit Fit building. You can find him there. And don't forget the A.J. Foyt exhibit is in the museum now. It'll be there until October. It includes the 4 cars that he won with and a bunch of other stuff that he's been hanging around his shop. And it's over at the museum. If you get a chance, go see it. Now, my first guest is a young gentleman we haven't talked to in a while, and he disappeared last year. We'll find out what he was doing. But he has shown himself to be an outstanding driver. He spent a couple of years in the Indy Lights. He has 8 wins, 20-some podium finishes. He finished runner-up twice. And he now is going to drive for Michael Shank, who is making his first attempt as a car owner, teamed up with Andretti Autosport for the Indianapolis 500, and we'll find out if they can go past that. A good guy, and last week you got rave reviews from Derek Daly. He said he's one of the best. Please welcome Mr. Jack Harvey. How long had you been working on trying to put a program together, and when did you and Mike Shank get together?
First off, good evening, everybody. See a lot of familiar faces, so thanks for coming out. I mean, it's no secret that, we've been working for a while to get a drive sorted for the Indy 500. Last year we got pretty close to getting one sorted with Sam Schmidt, but that kind of happened late. I mean, honestly, we couldn't quite get the pieces of the puzzle together in time, and then pretty much dedicated all of last year to getting something sorted this year. Obviously, I got a good relationship with Sam because I spent my 2 seasons Indy Lights with him. And then along came Tony Stewart and Jay Howard, which kind of shuffled me a little bit out of the seat. For as happy as I was to see Tony back in IndyCar, I was a little bummed that I was obviously not going to be the driver there. So it was kind of a case of which teams have still got seats left. I know Rob Edwards very well, who's the operational manager at Andretti Autosport. also from my time at Schmidt when he was my general manager. And honestly, just kind of called him and said, look, what do you have that's available? And it was actually achievable. My sponsors, AutoNation, came to the table in a stronger way. I got my deal announced and on the Sunday of Long Beach. And I guess someone else signed a little, later that week, being Fernando. So took a little bit of the shine away. But with Fernando coming on and I guess with what happened with Stefan Wilson, I ended up somewhat inheriting Michael. But I mean, it's about the best inheritance that you could ever get because already, even though we've not even been on track, he's just been absolutely amazing. I know he runs an extremely successful sports car team in his own right. So now, honestly, to get the combination of Michael and his enthusiasm and what he's already achieved and his hunger and desire to compete in the 500, combined with Andretti Autosport, which undoubtedly is one of the best teams on the grid, who have a particularly good record at Indy. Obviously, they've won 2 of the last 3 years, and last year they had the strategy covered either way. So feeling pretty lucky. I mean, I'll certainly say a lot of hard work has gone into making this happen and make it possible. But yeah, I think it was one of them kind of deals where it just got better. Every day I was just amazed and like, surely it's not. And then the next day would get a little better again. So I know what a good opportunity it is. I know the cars are going to be quick. I got a great group of people around me. I know it's. I'm feeling very lucky right now.
I don't think fans, that buy a ticket and sit in the grandstand and watch, understand how crucial your crew is. You have to be able to tell them what you need. They have to understand and give you what you need to drive the car. Because strange as it sounds, everybody can't bolt themselves into your car and drive it. You get on, wow, and another guy gets in and goes, holy smoke, this thing's loose. Everybody has a different way. So the team has to all work together, and I've said 65,000 times, I think motorsports is probably the ultimate team sport, because everybody has to do their job, or you got a problem, or you could have.
Well, absolutely. I used this analogy last week when I went to chat with a sponsor of mine, and just give people an idea exactly what goes into it. Every piece of the puzzle from the team side needs to be correct. I don't know if they're exactly like me telling this story, but Marco Andretti in Birmingham, Alabama, he'd done the whole week test and everything had gone well. Qualifying wasn't great. They just literally about to go out for the start of the race, and somebody put in the wrong engine mapping into the car, so then he got stuck in first gear and they couldn't get it out. He went 4 laps down, weekend over. And then that's one guy who you won't see him on TV ever. He's on the timing stand, but you just won't see them. So I think you're right, really, in terms of a team sport. Everybody has to do their part. Doesn't matter exactly what role it is. I mean, obviously driver is kind of the shop window, but we're probably 10% of actually like what goes on. The 90% is the goods in the back, and that's our team. Honestly, I'd love to say the percentage is, more in favor of the drivers, but I mean, genuinely it's not. I think all drivers are incredibly lucky that, the team are there to dedicate their time and their lives. And I think that's why everybody celebrates so much. When you win and so much effort goes into it, as soon as one season finishes, you roll straight into the next one. Everyone goes on holiday and, tries to enjoy the beach or the snow or whatever it is you like to do, but then pretty much Christmas comes, you have a good time with your family, and then it's immediately, what are we going to do next year? So, I can't thank the team ever enough. I don't have the words, honestly, to say how much I really appreciate it. And I think that's why when it goes well, and this is cheesy and a cliche and everyone's heard it all before, but you do win together and you lose together. And I think it's easy sometimes to, point the finger and lay blame where, ultimately driver makes more mistakes than the team does usually. And I think that was another thing as with Fernando coming on board to be, the 5th or the 6th car, whichever way you want to look at it, at Andretti Autosport, knowing then that I had Michael Shank and his whole team of people coming and working with me, a team that's got massive experience. They've done pit stop practice because obviously that's a massive part of the race. I felt like my situation got better. So, I really can't thank Michael and his whole team of people. Zach, who's going to be my engineer. It's an interesting process because these are guys that I didn't know a month ago, where suddenly we're about to go into the month and all trying to achieve the same goals and, kind of become, friends, genuinely. I need to know that I trust them and they trust me, and yeah, hopefully move forward together in a good direction.
Well, the driver is like the quarterback of a football team. He gets all the press, but there's 10 other guys that keep him from getting killed. And, the same thing with the driver. You get all the accolades, obviously, because you're the one that they see, but you would rely on them. And, of course, you're one who says, without them, I'm not here. And obviously, trust me, I've been to teams where the car has been set up for a driver. He said, I don't like it. Somebody else got in and went like a bat out of hell. This guy couldn't have won if all 32 other cars left. He wouldn't have won. It wouldn't have made any difference.
God, I hope you don't say that about me at the end
No,
of the
no,
month.
no.
Jeez.
Well, as I told you.
But I think it's true, though. I mean, I totally think that's true.
Oh, yeah. And Derek Daly raved about you. He said he is one of the better
That check must
guys.
have cleared then. I like Derek. Derek's a great guy. He helped me a bunch when I first moved here, and everything that he's doing with Connor, and I wish both of them a great month of May. But just one thing, the team make up a big bit, and I wouldn't be here without the team. None of us would be here without fans. So I know it's only a small thing, but I do really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. And as soon as I moved to Indy and moved to Indy Lights, you had me on the show straight away, and that was in start of 2014 now. So now we're May 2017. So thank you, Don, and thank you for everybody for continually coming back and supporting all of the drivers and all the teams.
Well, I was looking for you last year, and you disappeared. Where were you? I know you were driving something, but I can't remember.
I was 56th and Penn.
Really?
I was in town all year. Thanks for the invite back. I only want to be my friend when I'm driving.
I tried to find you.
I was... So at the start of the year, I moved back to the UK just because I was kind of in limbo.
See?
I came back in March. And then I pretty much spent... from March back through to Christmas, I was here because I was coaching the Schmidt-Peterson Indy Lights team. So I was working with Andre Negrao and Santiago Arrutia. And actually this year, kind of combining with my own Indy 500 program, I've been working with Neil Alberico. For anyone who's been watching Lights, will see what an improvement he's had this year. Last year, I think his best finish was maybe 8th. But this year, we've got him onto the podium twice already, and 3 top 5s and 1 DNF, which wasn't his fault. So I've been keeping busy. Thanks very much.
Why didn't you call me?
It is a two-way street. I will take some blame there. You look good. You look just as good as last time.
Oh, yeah, right.
Although we need to get you a new shirt without any tape on it. That's embarrassing.
The thing I find interesting about your car owner is he had a car about 4 or 5 years ago and planned to enter, and he couldn't get an engine contract. He drove one IndyCar race, and he's had this dream of making it happen, and finally it's happening. Oddly enough, how did he pick you? I mean, it's a good choice in my opinion. I think you're a heck of a good driver. But how did he pick you?
I don't know if he really had much of a choice. I mean, honestly, I actually saw a photo of Michael racing earlier. I took a photo of it. I'll send it to him in a little bit here. But talking to him for like 5 minutes, I could realize what his passion for the Speedway was. And particularly the 500. I mean, I know he's got some aspirations to try and turn it into a bigger program moving forward in the future. I don't exactly know when and what that is, but I chatted to him just after they announced that I was going to be working with him, and his passion was just so abundantly clear. I felt super lucky because in some way I feel like his racing dream's coming true, so is mine. So many of these things we kind of just call each other, and I'm like, hey, did you see that? How cool was that? And he's like, dude, I saw it. And we just keep having this, like back-to-back just enjoyment of it all, I mean, we really are appreciating and enjoying everything that we've been doing up to now. And we've not even been on track, So you can imagine how excited both of us are going to be, come May 15th when we get to rookie orientation. I guess I do feel quite bad, actually, for Stefan Wilson because my deal was signed and announced. And then as Fernando came along, I think he kind of gently, or aggressively pushed out Stefan just because there was a shortage of engines. And I know that Michael was somewhat planned to work with Stefan and then kind of got redirected in my direction. I know he was, when the team said it was going to be with me, I know he was excited. I'd like to try and do a good job and impress him, so he puts me in one of his sports cars as well. Already had that conversation, but yeah, I mean, both of our dreams are coming true in May, so it's a perfect team.
Well, you're from Europe. Fernando's from Spain. According to Mr. Daly, the viewership in Europe with him being here will be huge. And, of course, you draw attention, and it can only help. I was told the other day that the ticket sales for the 101st are ahead of the 100th. There have been more tickets sold at this time than last year at this time.
That's amazing.
So, that being said, there'll probably, if there are seats available, and I don't know that there are places to stand, that people will be coming from Europe to see him, and while they're there, they're going to see you.
Do you want a ticket? Is that what you're getting at?
I'm sorry?
You want a ticket?
No.
You need me to get you a
No,
ticket?
no.
I'm just kidding.
No. Do you have one?
If you want one.
But I think, is it right that he should come and somebody else who has been with the ladder and worked their way up out? I don't know. That's not my call. But is it good for the series? I think it is. Is it good for the 500? Yes. And it'd be good for everybody because more eyes will see. And they'll say, oh, Jack, he's from England. Wow, I didn't know that. So I don't think it can hurt.
I totally agree with you. I mean, is it right that he gets a seat where people have been working hard and gone through the American ladder system? I have no idea. Luckily, I don't have to make them decisions. What I do know is, Fernando is undoubtedly in the conversation for being the best driver in the world. What he's achieved in Formula One in especially recent years, and he still outperforms his car week in, week out. And, for example, I started go-karting in 2003. I won the Junior British Go-Karting Championship in 2006, which was also a year that he won one of his World Championships. So in terms of my own opinion of it, I think it's amazing that one of my childhood heroes is going to be my teammate. He's got such a wealth of experience. The buzz that he's brought to the 500 already, I think, is absolutely incredible. And I saw some names getting thrown out there about bringing a NASCAR driver over and whatnot. Recently, you've never had anybody from Formula One come and do it. And the fact that he's missing Monaco, like the crown jewel of the whole Formula One season, everything that you could think about Formula One is completely Monaco. All the yachts, the street racing, a bit of partying, casinos, all that, which I think people still like to think of Formula One, is Monaco. He's choosing to leave that to come here, which was everything that I wanted to achieve too. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's only been a good thing for him to be here. I'm looking forward to being teammates with him, looking forward to working with him and learning with him. I hung out with him a little bit today. He was a thoroughly nice guy. He's here to mean business. He's not here just to make up the numbers, but I think anybody who thinks it isn't a good thing is just not quite in touch with what's going on.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is you've got experience in ovals and he doesn't.
Yeah, right.
So he can come over here and say, hey, Jack, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I joked with some of the team that when I met him, I was just going to show him my Freedom 100 victory. But then I didn't dare do it when I met him. I just completely fangirled out. I wanted a selfie more than anything.
The other interesting thing is he was at Birmingham, and I'll be willing to bet that he spent more time with the media in Birmingham than he has in his entire career in Formula One. They had him everywhere, and he was interviewing and talking to people. So I'm sure he's gotten the idea. You come to America, the fans and the media is going to talk to you. They're going to get access to you.
I think, I've been lucky because I've always lived in Indy, and I know that Hoosiers particularly embrace the whole month of May, but I think the love that as drivers that we feel when we come here is second to none, so certainly I hope everyone gives him a good time so he can experience all the things that I have, and in a bigger way because of who he is. I'm still trying to achieve my dream. He's kind of already partly achieved his dream. Honestly, I'm just really excited that he's here.
Well, I'm excited that you're in because your record when you've come here and the years that you ran with Sam, you got 8 wins and like 20 podium finishes. You were runner-up twice. I don't know why you didn't win, but Spencer Pickett beat you.
Too many political reasons to answer on the show.
When you started racing, did you have a goal to come here, or were you wanted to go to Formula One and that was where you had your eye to start with?
I would be lying if I turned around and said that I didn't have aspirations to race in Formula One, because everything that I always did, I raced in Europe, I followed Formula One. When I did Formula BMW, we supported Formula One, same as the Mazda Road to Indy Sports IndyCar. I don't know why, because I'd never been to America before, but maybe it was what I saw on TV, I don't know. I just always really desperately wanted to come. And the opportunity came, and I just took it because I wanted to experience it, honestly. You know, I like NASCAR, I like IndyCar, I like all the sports car racing you do here. Formula One was getting bottlenecked up. You know, the amount of money that's required to do it is just, you know, crazy numbers. Even all racing numbers are crazy a little bit, but you know, the opportunity to come and race with Sam, with the sponsors that I had, and you know, try and progress into IndyCar was an opportunity that I didn't ever want to turn down. You know, and I know last year at times it was tough, and we wondered if we'd made the right decision. But I mean, we just grinded through all of it, and then obviously we're getting the opportunity to race the 500 this year. We're feeling like it was totally worth it. So I mean, honestly, I've been on the McLaren Young Driver program before. I've won British Formula 3. I mean, really, I was on the path to something in Europe, where I gave that up to come and race in America. So I guess to turn around and say has been a part of the 500 always been my dream. I would say my dream has always been to compete at the top level of motorsport, which is exactly what the Indy 500 is. So, you know, I mean, honestly, for me, this is the coolest thing that I've ever been a part of. You know, I'm immensely proud of everybody I've got in my corner who's helped me, all my sponsors, all my family, all my friends. You know, they've really been my rock, you know, for the last 18 months while I've got stuff sorted. And certainly, you know, pre-May at least, and you know, being competitive or not competitive or whatever, you know, right now I'm feeling very lucky in that we made that right decision at the end of 2013, start of 14 to come over here.
Who are your sponsors? You might as well say who your sponsors are. They're helping you get here.
AutoNation are my primary sponsor, and GapGuard are my second, like, co-primary sponsors, I guess. I don't know anyone, I don't know if he's here tonight, but Pat Kennedy, who's a regular, he's helping me out this year a little bit. And, you know... Hey, buddy. How's it going? Where's Pat?
He's in Owensboro.
I don't know where that is. Where's that?
Kentucky.
Kentucky?
He's having a sandwich with he's having a sandwich with Darrell Waltrip, isn't he?
So honestly, I mean, I'm hanging out with him tomorrow, but I've met so many great people, and I've been so lucky with people who've had interest in supporting me, and then people who've actually been able to, you know, make this dream a reality.
What do your parents say about this?
Well, I think my mum's more famous in Indy than I am, to be honest. Everyone seems to love hanging out with her. You know, I'm just like a token. You know, he's with her. You know, it's not so much Jack Harvey's mum as Anne-Marie. This is her son. You know, it's been a subtle shift there, but I don't know. My dad's raced all his life in numerous different stuff. Kind of in the UK, he raced in autograss. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's kind of like sprint car racing in the UK on dirt ovals. I will say, I think my mum will probably freak out a little bit when she sees how quick the cars are in qualifying, and how many, you know, the start of the race, how many people are there. I think to see 11 rows of 3 is always epic, but you know, maybe when it's your when it's your son, maybe you're not thinking it's quite so epic in that moment. But you know, both my parents are coming out, my sister's coming out, my cousins, my girlfriend's here tonight, just kind of chilling over there.
Introduce her.
She's been great.
What's her name?
Shelby.
That's his girlfriend sitting right there.
You know, honestly, everything, I've got nothing to complain about in life at the moment. My racing's going well, my personal life's going well, all my family are in decent health. So yeah, I just feel super lucky right now.
If you couldn't drive a race car, what would you be doing now?
Well, actually, when I go back to the UK, I'm a qualified laser operator.
Really?
I work with my dad in his steel fabrication company, so a little less glamorous than Indy 500 driver.
Do you know Anthony Martin?
Yes, I do, the Aussie, yeah.
Yeah, and he just got certified, so he can work on hydraulics and stuff for the well drilling in Australia.
Well, if racing doesn't work out, maybe we'll try and do something together.
I don't know. He's driving the Pro Mazda, and I think they've...
He seems to be having a good season, so I hope.
Yeah, so
hoping
far
for us both, we'll just be racing against each other, opposed to
Have you ever raced
business
with him?
partners in steel fabrication.
Have you ever raced against him in Europe?
I have not. No,
No?
the first time I met him was last year when he was racing in the 2-litre US 2000 category, and yeah, I mean he had a great season, and certainly hope he carries that on into this year. And if he could win the scholarship and move up to Indy Lights, I think I'd be happy for him because he's a super nice guy.
How much have you tested an IndyCar yet?
I haven't tested one on an oval before. I've done a couple of road courses.
How much has the Lights program helped you to make the step up? Of course,
Well, I'll let you know in May.
it's
No,
May.
I think seriously, I think what the Mazda Road to Indy program is doing right now for all drivers in North America, or young drivers at least, is incredible. Because if I know the winner gets the main prize and they get to move up, but I mean they really are trying to help people as much as they can. So how has it prepared me? Well, I've already raced at Indy. I've raced at all the tracks I'm going to be going to, more or less. I've run there, so it's given me the experience of getting on track, racing ovals, meeting teams, kind of, I guess, building somewhat of a reputation, at least trying to build a positive one. And it's put me on the doorstep of IndyCar, which, because I was on the doorstep, we worked hard and kept grinding, and, a few opportunities came. So, I can't thank everybody at Mazda and Dan Anderson and everyone at Anderson Promotions for continually helping me as I left Indy Lights and tried to make the step to IndyCar. They've always been there if I needed some advice or whatever. I mean, they've always been there.
I was talking to Fernando today, and he said, if I need any help, Jack can help me because he's done all this.
Well, I showed him that picture. So.
It's interesting, the people that get involved in motorsports. Now, I've been hanging around this place for close to 60 years. I've done this kind of thing since 1974. I started in Chicago, and I've been here about 27 years, I think. I better not say that. They might
I was
say,
born
really?
in 93. Sorry.
I got shoes that I bought in 93, and I still wear them. And some other things I might have. But you're born in 93.
Yeah. Tax day.
Yeah. Oh, really?
15th of April.
They have that in England?
No, thank
Oh.
God.
Oh.
It might not have been a celebration then.
Do you get a lot of attention at home? I mean, do they follow what you're doing when you got on a team to enter the 500? Did it make the news? Did you get calls from the press?
Yeah, actually I did. It was my hometown especially. They were very supportive. Again, they've been behind me the whole time. Even last year when I was struggling to get things sorted, I was on the radio, I was on the news, still trying to keep people updated on what I've been doing. So to be able to give them something good to write about was obviously nice, and made national news, which was awesome. One of my aunties who was watching it in Scotland, she saw me on TV, so she texted me and said good job. And yeah, I mean, not enough that someone's going to stop me and go, oh, hey, are you that guy? But at least it does make the newspaper, and I think people, at least in my hometown, are starting to maybe remember my name.
Gee, that'd be
Hopefully.
nice. That'd be nice. Jack who? Jack. Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm very pleased for you. I think
Thank you.
from watching you for a couple years in the Lights, you know how to drive a car, and as long as you get the two things, the crew and you together. I used to work for a guy who had all the computers, and all he did was read the tire. And he'd ask the driver, how's the car? What's the problem? And apparently you can tell everything from the temperature on tire. It'll tell you what's going on. And he said, as long as the driver told me what they did, we're in business.
Well, that's anything that touches the ground.
That's true, hopefully.
Well, yeah.
Well, listen,
Shouldn't have seen me on the sim this morning.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Do you go to Pit Fit or work out?
Actually, I work out at FitFlex Fly,
Oh, okay.
86th and Nora.
Oh, yeah, I know where it is. It's
You know
down
where
the
that
street. Down the street, yeah.
I like Jim Leo. I mean, he's doing a great thing with all of his drivers.
Oh,
so.
yeah. So it's all right. Well, congratulations on getting the ride. I'm sure you will do Michael Shank and Andretti Autosport proud. You've got the talent to do it, and I'm sure they've got more than enough crew to give you the car you need to be competitive.
Thank you.
So good luck to you. What's
Thank
your car?
you.
What's your car number?
50.
Oh, that's right, car 50. Keep an eye on it.
It's
Andretti
gonna
Autosport.
be an interesting colour scheme. So Once you see it once, you won't miss it twice. And best of luck on your book when you start writing that.
Yeah. Is it gonna be about television? Is it gonna be about video and television and stuff? It is not. Okay, good. All right. Well,
That was a conversation killer.
yeah, that ended everything. Well, good luck to you. Good to see you back. And any chance that Mr. Shank and you will extend the current season for one or two more races?
There's been some conversations about that, and some pieces of the puzzle have started to move in that direction. So we're somewhat hopeful we won't be one and done.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good luck. And if I call you, I don't know how to call you. Well, I can call Brittany. She'll chase you down. We'll call you back. We'll call you back.
Sounds
Come
good.
back again. Jack Harvey, car number 50, driving for Michael Shank Racing with Andretti Autosport. Thanks for coming. Really enjoy it. My other guest, Slick Willie, is here. In the meantime, I want to remind you that Sam Pierce Chevrolet in Daleville, Indiana, has what you need. You got to come to the country to see why the best prices in the country are in fact at the country at Sam Pierce Chevrolet. You'll also see why. I had to hide eyes on. You also see why Sam is always rated at the top of customer satisfaction. Just take I-69 north to exit 34, exit east 1 mile, and you won't miss him. He'll be right there. And there's a great place called the Indy Racing Experience, that you can get a ride in the greatest car and find out why these people love to drive these cars. All you need to do is dial 317-243-7171, ask for Shonda. But before you do that, go to IndyRacingExperience.com, find a date that's open that you can make it, give them a call. When you talk to Shonda, extension 106, mention my name and they'll give you 20% off. Or they'll throw you out of the building. You just never know which one it's going to be. Stitches 2 is on Gasoline Alley, just south of the Speedway, where all your embroidery needs can be handled. No matter what you need, they can do it. If you can throw it, drag it, send it, sail it, whatever it is, Fran will take care of it. Give her a call. Her number is 317-271-3444. Is it time for insurance? Do what I did. Do what a lot of us have done. Call VP Insurance and talk to Mike Pardee. If you got a home, car, or you have a commercial building, you need insurance, Mike can handle it all. He handles AAA insurance, among others. Let him give you a quote. You might be surprised like I was. It could be better coverage for less money. His number is 317-248-0070. That's VP Insurance, Mike Pardee. 317-248-0070. The next event for the SVRA will be at Road America, the 2017 Spring Vintage Festival, the 18th to the 21st at Road America. If you're anywhere in the area, anywhere near Wisconsin, get over there. You'll see some great cars, great people. You have a great time. It's fabulous. And if you got a kid 9 years old, like give them a ride in an Indy car, they have what they call a victory lap. Just go the same as I said, call 317-243-7171 or look up what dates they run at IndyRacingExperience.com. And generally when they're out running, you can just go there, get in line, take a ride, mention my name, and the photo at the end of the run is free. Now, my next guest, he's my hero. I told him that. He told his wife. He said, well, you got to go tonight then if he's
That was the only reason. That's the only reason I'm here, because you said that.
He is. Good luck to you, Jack. Thank you.
See ya.
He was a former executive with Budget Rent-A-Car. He and Joe and
Jeff.
I keep forgetting about him. Jeff got together and they decided, we had to do this thing, put another a passenger, extend the car and put a passenger, and they put it together and it's called the Indy Racing Experience 2-seater. It has been hugely successful, and they have gotten more attention to the series probably than any single thing, and any writer who wants to write about the sport and wants to understand it goes for a ride, and they do. And he takes celebrities for rides too. He is what they call Tim Neiman's favorite Chicago's own. Please welcome Mr. Scott Jasek.
Thanks, Don. Don sporting the Indy Racing Experience shirt with a hole right here. Is that when you're cutting your grass?
Yeah, I got winged. I'm a little dated myself, so I
That's
hid
okay.
that. I don't know where to get one of these, so I had to wear an old one.
So another thing Shonda wanted to point out, when you when you email my thing when you do that email, it says 12,000 rides. We're
I know
probably
it's-
close to 70,000
I know.
now.
I caught
Okay.
that today. Well, you
She
gotta-
said, "Tell Don."
I know. Hell, the last time you were here was at 50.
Yeah, I think we're right. We don't. It's not like hamburgers sold. We don't keep a constant tally. We kind of go roundabout. So
Oh yeah. Okay. How are things going?
everything's good. Been busy. Was in New York. Did any of you see Larry Bird drive the car in New York?
Yeah.
So that started out. He was gonna do the two-seater. We're gonna drive him up in the two-seater, and we had him come to our building. And obviously, he just was too big. Now he would have fit in. Believe it or not, he would fit in the car that Mario drives, which we call the start of the race ride. Or all. He would have fit in that car, but we couldn't drive that car in New York City. So we suggested he drive. So we pulled the seat out. We gave him a little test in our parking lot, and I don't know if any of you ever been around Larry Bird. It was my first time. He's kind of a serious guy, you know. And his daughter, which I didn't know was daughter, she's only like 5 foot tall. So Miranda, I think her name is, and she was with him. And we put him in the car, and we showed him what to do, and just dropping into second gear, we pushed him off, and he drove around the parking lot. And he came back, and he was like giddy. He was like had a grin on his. He goes to me, he goes, "You're going to be there with me, right?" I go, "Yeah, I'll be there." And then he said, "All right, I'll do it." And then that's how it all came about. So last week, I went to New York City, unloaded the car about a block away from Trump Tower, which, if you've been in New York City, Trump Tower now is like a fortress with Secret Service and all. And for everybody that's been involved in IndyCar, remember Charles Burns?
Oh,
Charles
sure. Oh, yeah.
So Charles had a phenomenal connection in New York with a security firm. So we had New York police that were off duty in Suburbans with lights and all. And when we unloaded the car, I got to take a ride to make sure everything worked fine. And
Oh, yeah.
they blocked the street. It was kind of cool. You kind of felt like the president, right? They're blocking and driving around. And so then we pulled up. Larry got in. They put cones for about 5 blocks on Fifth Avenue. And we put him in, started up, off he went. Now, I should tell you, too, there was like just a slight glitch right before. You know, like you're just waiting for something to go wrong in New York City. Someone had gotten in the car about 10 minutes before Larry was going to get in and accidentally flipped the switch on, which drained the battery. So right before I was going to put Larry in, they called me and they go, "Hey, is he going to come down?" I go, "Yeah, have him come down." And I told my guy, "Hey, warm it up one more time." And he gets in and I just heard this click, click. I'm like, "Oh no," all the cameras and everything. So I'm like, "Oh no, now we got." So we had to run 5 blocks to grab a battery, put the side pod, put the new battery in. Larry showed up 5 minutes later, got in and drove it. But for a moment, I was like, if I had any more hair, it was going to fall out right then, right on the street. You know, it's like moments like that, all the cameras and everything, like, oh, no, not now, right? So, but that was the only little glitch we had, and it wasn't really much of a glitch. And Larry drove it, and got tons of media, as it always does. Whenever you put a celebrity either in the two-seater or drive car and you drive down the streets of any major city, it seems to ignite with the media.
Now, the obvious question everybody's wanting to know, after his ride, is that why he retired?
Isn't that funny? Because it seemed that way, right?
Yeah.
He did that, and all of a sudden, that's what I jokingly put that on Facebook. I said, he took me serious, right? He's now going to become an IndyCar. Now, I have to say, he did enjoy it, and he will one day, minus media, come out and we'll let him drive at the Speedway, so that would be kind of interesting. Now, he really sticks out of that car pretty far, so it won't be a fast drive, I'm sure.
Does he must look like Shaq in that commercial with the insurance guy where his head's way above.
Exactly, yeah. But he was very friendly. You know, it's exciting with the city of Indianapolis when everyone pulls together, Visit Indy, the Capital Improvement Board, the Sports Corp, everyone, you know, trying to pitch to get this all-star game, because that'd be a neat feather in our hat for Indianapolis 2021. They claim it'll generate $100 million in revenue. A majority of it goes to Don, of course, because of what you do. But it is a good, you know, it would be a good thing for the city if we were able to pull it off.
Now, the three of you sat down. It's my understanding that you had this idea in the back of your head to put a two-seater together, and the three of you worked out what could happen, how you could do it.
Yeah.
Do you ever look back and say, what were we thinking?
Not so much what you were thinking. I'm not so sure I ever would have thought that I'd be in Times Square one day with eyes out and it'd be a billboard, right? Or, Lady Gaga and all these celebrities that ride and the attention it got. Because if I mention it to somebody now, I'll be like, oh, did you ever see that two-seat Indy car? Say I'm on a plane or something. And people always tell me, oh, yeah, I've seen that. And I go, oh, yeah, I'm involved with that. So I'm surprised. It's a little shocking at how many people know about it. In addition, we rarely advertise. In fact, I think you and IMS Radio are about the only two places we advertise. And it must be very effective because we pretty much sell at all our dates. And this year, for some reason, more than ever, our sales are way up. We haven't done anything different. So it's exciting. Hopefully that it's translating to IndyCar and viewership and things like that, because that's the whole intent, right? It's to grow the sport through the car.
When you come to a town, let's take Phoenix, you just came back from there, does the media contact you and say, we want to get our sportscaster out or our writer?
It's a combination. It's been really kind of a cool combination for us because IndyCar has their advanced PR that does work. The tracks do it. Honda, Aero. We don't even need our own PR team because everyone's doing PR for us. And so they don't contact us directly. They contact any of the ones I mentioned. And the other thing we've been doing, it gets hot and cold, is now the street legal two-seaters. They go into market for IndyCar a couple of weeks in advance, and then that also stimulates rides because then they'll go give a media ride it, and then they'll convince someone to come out and do a media ride.
You've had probably a celebrity from any kind of entertainment of any sort, whether it's a sport or a television, news, or recording artist. You had the current president was here and rode in the car, and somebody told me that as he's going, he has a hairstylist with him to make sure his hair is always fluffed.
Did I tell this?
No.
A couple of times we've been. So this was 4 or 5 years ago. We did the Apprentice show, and the first day, same thing. We wanted to make sure Donald Trump would fit in the car. So I went a day before. He came out, introduced myself. I strapped him in, and I just gave him a quick ride around Trump Tower. He was friendly, but didn't say a whole lot then. The next day, Mario came in, and we were going to film the Apprentice show. And Donald came and sat with us, just kind of like this. I found him very knowledgeable about IndyCar. He knew a lot about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He was real personable, actually kind of fun. And then it was he sent 4 guys to go out with a rope. They had two ropes. And we were on the sidewalk, and my guys were telling me, they were shouting, Donald Trump's coming, Donald Trump's coming. So all these people built up. Then this other guy comes in and says, okay, Donald, there's a crowd. So this was before we knew what had happened. So then he stands up, he straightens his tie, puts this long coat on, and then he does that like chin thing and all. And he's like real stiff, and he walks out, and then Mario gets him. We get in the car, and we do the ride. But my guys were telling me, and he had set this whole thing up with this crowd. So then Mario had heard that, and Mario started calling him a circus clown. And he's like, Donald, you're a circus clown. And then Donald was rubbing Mario's hair in the two-seater. He was rubbing his hair, and he's like, look at Mario's hair. And I was sitting right on him, looking down at his. Now, Donald's hair is real. It's real hair. I mean, I was like this close, right? And then he's rubbing my head, and but then when we gave him the ride, his hair got a little messed up. And he has this girl, or I don't know if he still does, but she had a belt with 2 gold hairsprays and then a mirror that was gold with a T on it. And then he held the mirror, and then she came and sprayed his hair and did his hair. So I thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. But he was a showman. Like you could just tell everything's kind of set up for show. So
who's the most interesting celebrity you've given a ride to?
Well, celebrity. I mean, everyone saw last year Lady Gaga, right?
Yeah.
So so that was kind of interesting because the way that all came about, and we were in a hurry. She was in the green room up in the pagoda, and I got to tell the story in a certain way. I don't want to get myself in trouble with some. So first I didn't know what to call her. Do you call her Lady? Do you call her Miss Gaga? Do you call her, like you're Don K? I call you Don, Mr. K. Do you call her, I didn't know what to go. So I said, what do I call you? And she said her name was Stephanie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll call you Stephanie. So she all of a sudden had to go to the bathroom, and Mark Miles and Allison Millington were telling me, you got to get her down at the front, right? We're already in the pagoda, and it's, as you know, last year, the 500, just so many people. So I'm pushing her like, you got to hurry. So now she has to go to the bathroom. She cuts in front of all the drivers in the green room. They all let her go. She comes out. we go into the room, and she's going to put the fire suit on, and she's with Shonda, some lady, another guy, and then she turns to me and she goes, "Are you gay?" And I'm like, "What? What? Well, no, I have a wife and child." And then she goes, "Well, then get the hell out of here." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I walk out and I shut the door. So she changes, comes out. All Shonda walked out and said, "Bad mistake. Should have said you were gay." Oh. I won't get into detail, but you could make your mind bad mistake. So, rule of thumb, Lady Gaga asks you if you're gay, just say yeah. Anyway, so her manager guy starts telling me, we have 4 state police with us, and her manager guy is telling me, nobody takes pictures with that, because she has Honda on, right? He goes, we don't have an agreement with Honda. Nobody takes pictures of her. I go, okay. So I'm thinking, like, I don't know how that's going to happen, but we start heading out. We're on the upper part of the suite, the suites. We went on the back side because we're going to hurry. Well, people are popping out everywhere trying to take her picture, and I'm saying, no pictures, like running, and we're running because we're late. And she's got these really high boots on and all. We get all the way to the car. I'm shouting at people, "Oh, wait, no pictures, no pictures." So she calls me over, "Scott, come here. And she goes, "Stay real calm." And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at her, and she goes, "Don't ever tell people not to take pictures of me." She goes, "I'm a celebrity. I want my picture taken." So I was like, well, your guy I thought, forget it. She's here. It's done. And then after all that, she decides she wants to keep the fire suit.
Oh.
So she's proceeded the rest of the day to wear that fire suit. And Honda, the lady from Honda, I mean, she would have paid big dollars to Lady Gaga to wear that fire suit. She just kept it on. So I heard a statistic that Alexander Rossi received 700 million media exposures worldwide for winning the 500, and Lady Gaga received Lady Gaga and Mario 2.5 billion worldwide media exposure. Yeah, and that's something Honda tracks, and they're advertising for him through all kinds of worldwide, because it got into all different types of media. So when you ask that one, because it's so fresh in my mind, that's an interesting one. But we've met, so many people.
Now I know why TE loves you so much. You got
Yeah.
him more publicity than they couldn't afford to pay that.
Right, and so the program changed. If you notice this year, there's no commercial, there's no register to win, and it all started because of these celebrities in the way social marketing or social media works now. That they realized this tool, the 2-seater, gets more social media than anything else they have. So they go, it's better to invest in just having celebrities come out and take rides, and then it goes viral, and that the return on investment becomes through that. And that seems the way a lot of people are marketing now.
And it only makes the Indy Racing Experience 2-seater that much bigger.
It does, yeah, in a strange way. Who would have thought we would have fell into it that way? But yeah, so it's kind of evolved. And one thing, you were talking about riders, right? But the ones that are touching to me are the ones that people are very ill or deathly ill, and they take the rides. And I might have told you this story, but it's in Kansas years ago. There was a gentleman. They brought him from the hospital with oxygen, and his wife was adamant that he takes this ride because he wanted to do this ride. So I didn't know what to do, and I'm talking to IndyCar. Everybody's telling me, don't do this. What if that? So I talk to the wife, and I go, everyone's really concerned. What should happen if he passes away in the car? That seems to be what everyone's asking. She goes, that would be wonderful. She's like, so I'm like, oh my God. Now what do I do? You're right? And she's like, you have to do this for him. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do it, and I'll just deal with the circumstance. So he had oxygen. We actually put him in the car, and we pulled his oxygen off, put the headsock helmet on, and went. And as he was going around, I just kept seeing his head down. I just kept praying, like, oh, please just keep breathing when you come back. And he came back in, and he was like giddy. He was just, it put some life into him, and then he went back, and he died shortly after that. But those are the ones that people like that. That's more important to me personally than any of the celebrities.
Do you get a lot of requests from now that the celebrities calling? They want to be a part of it. They want to get the ride.
Yeah, and we have to keep in mind too. There's this strange, you have Mario Andretti, who, like someone like Lady Gaga, was looking to Mario as the celebrity, right? So Mario at this point, he's looked at as an A-list celebrity that people want to be around, right? So it'll be interesting to see when Mario no longer drives the car, which I know he keeps every year he looks younger to me as he wants to do this more and more. But yeah, in the sport, I think that's a concern, right? We don't have that next Mario Andretti yet. We need somebody of that, worldwide fame coupled with the two-seater. Really.
But you have some young kids that drive the car that do very well. I mean,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
some good ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's amazing, as you know, Davey, when he was incapacitated and couldn't drive, drove your two-seater.
Mhm.
And he said when he got out and got in the car and got to race again, I mean, he didn't lose anything because he had been driving these things.
Right. And it was in Dallas. Davey and I were in Dallas when we were doing the street legal, and he just turned to me one day. I think I might have told you a story, but he goes, I want to race again. He goes, now that I've been driving the two-seater, and then he was explaining how he had to repay insurance and had to do all kinds of things like that. And I was like, wow, you're gonna do this? So a lot of people may not know this, but Davey, when he came back and raced that 500, that was just to generate money to repay his insurance so that he can, like,
Yeah,
he leaves like a crackhead, like here I go again, out on the racetrack, and now
I guess he had gotten a settlement. He had to pay it back.
he did,
to
yeah,
get back.
and he did,
And he did.
yeah, he's a racer through
Oh,
and through,
sure.
as we all know.
He's got was a King of Wings series, which is doing very well, I
Yeah,
understand.
he did, yeah,
He's going all the time.
he
Yeah.
is, he's a good friend too.
Oh yeah. How's the printing business doing?
Yes.
Or graphics?
Graphics is doing wonderful. It'll one day be, like I might have mentioned to you before, it'll be our biggest company overall in terms of revenue, because everyone we know and connect with, it's just a matter of managing that growth. So that's a whole, in terms of our businesses, that one is the one that will one day be really enormous.
Really? I mean, you start off you get into this thing. You buy Panther Graphics and you start, and you're going along. And John Menard said, "By the way, I've got 9,000 trailers. How would you like to start with that?" Now, there's a way to kickstart a business.
Right, and you were 1,000 off. It was actually 10,000
I
trailers.
know. I'm told every day I'm wrong. Now
There you go. Yeah, so we had these two little printers, and John came through and said, "Can you guys do the wrap my trailers?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we could do that." So he leaves, and we get an order for 80 trailers, and then our printers print. Our original printers were like the size of this table here, and they're printing like a trailer every 10 and a half hours, and you're like, "Oh my God, we'll never get this done." So we went to Hewlett Packard, who was a sponsor, and we have this. It's called Latex 3000 wide format printer. It's giant, and it'll print transport in about an hour and a half, and so that really saved us, and then it's taken us all to a whole new level. And in fact, we have a two-seater that's it has a website on it called Ukuta, Ukuta. It's actually us, and it's in a partnership with John Menard, and it's to make wallpaper that you just put up with water, and you put it up. And it could stay up for 6-7 months, whatever, a year. And when you pull it off, it doesn't damage the wall. That's really the secret to it. And that's something we developed with Hewlett Packard and John Menard. So that'll be, and then you could just take a picture off your phone and upload it so you can customize. And it's called, they call it wall art. So that it'll probably go live in June, and then we're going to hook to the Menard's website, and then but that could be something.
Can I put pictures from this thing up there?
Get a little. You can make a stamp. Yeah, we can make a stamp with that.
All
right.
I have to say, the three of you guys, the three Musketeers, the three of you couldn't be any different, but
Absolutely right.
But you're right together.
Yeah, and I think that was a secret. If you're going to have a business partnership, if you partner with someone that you're similar to, you'll argue and you go, "No, I want to do it this way. I want to do that way." I always tell people, for sure, if you see Joe Kennedy and Chris Kennedy working on a two-seater, it's as safe as it can be. They are unbelievable in preparation for the cars. If you see me doing anything with the two-seater, don't get in it. I'm not that guy, right? I could put a helmet on, I could do it, but I can't. I'm not the guy to do that. So that's where Joe focuses on the operation. I focus on the business stuff. Jeff focuses on, what Jeff focuses on.
Keeping his motorhome clean.
Something.
Every once in a while they put on a Homatro safety outfit and stand around there. Yeah.
He's actually very creative. He's like very creative mind. He's a bit of an artist. I wouldn't say a bit. He is an artist, so he sees things in abstract. When you're around people for this amount of time, you get, Joe Kennedy is very, nuts and bolts, and 1 + 1 = 2, and Jeff is real abstract, so.
It's an amazing to watch, the three of you guys operate, and I saw something. I said, who in the world created that? Joe. Thought he's a mechanic. Oh, he knows computers inside out, upside down, and backwards, and he can make a computer fly. I didn't realize that, and I went,
he's good with
Louise.
computers, good with wiring. I mean, our street legal, all that stuff. To me, like, it's Christmas lights. He just rips it I'm like, wow, it's a big ball of wires, and he makes it all work. So I have no idea.
What's next?
Oh, this wallpaper will be a big. For years, you and I had talked, and we made a run to try to buy the Richard Petty driving experience. The venture capitalists that own them, the private equity that owns them right now, thought our offer was too low, so we'll just wait and see. But that was something we thought if we merged the two companies together, there was a lot of synergies and things that we can do. If the racing experience business is just odd, especially right now. A lot of people are doing these exotic cars. I don't know if any of you have ever done Ferraris, Lamborghinis. The thing that worries me about those cars is people take those out in tracks, and they give them training and all, and they give them the perception that they're safe, but that's just a production car. So there's been a lot of people severely injured and killed in those cars, which then hurts our industry, right? So the industry as a whole, where the two-seaters and what we do with the Indy cars and all, safety is paramount. It's what we do. And if say you and I were going to start an exotic racing experience and buy Ferraris and Lamborghinis, right off the bat, we've thrown safety out the window because the cars are not safe to go at those speeds. And so you might as well, why even put a helmet on someone for those? So we're that part of our industry is starting to hurt the industry a little bit in terms of insurance and all. But it's put some people out of business, and so I think the industry is kind of going through a strange time right now where for us it'd be an opportunity to buy some things if possible.
Well, I'm sure most people remember the infamous ride where the guy went around and the wing fell off, and so forth. Said that was the greatest thing that ever happened to him, but IMS made you stop, and they went through everything. I think it was IMS or IndyCar to make the car safer, so that can't happen. So when your people get
all
in the
work
car
together. We the car that spun are our street legal cars of today. All the cars since then, all what we call our 6 high-speed cars, all purpose-built. And every time Dallara builds, we buy 2 at a time. So the original 2, then the next. Each time we improve safety features on them. Just the chassis sitting, when we buy the chassis from Dallara, it's $475,000. That doesn't include seat, wheel, engines, all these things. When the two-seater is just sitting there, when you count all the things on it, it's probably around a $700,000 car. Then you need, if you're going to do 30 or 40 rides at the Speedway, you need X amount of sets of wheels. You have to have an agreement with Firestone. And I often say, when we were first starting, if someone had told me the hurdles that we were jumping and we were jumping them, I wouldn't have believed it, right? We had to first convince the Indianapolis Motor Speedway owners, the family, to allow us to run there. We had to convince an insurance company to insure it. We had to convince Firestone to allow us to put tires on it. We had to convince a bank to finance it. When you look at those things, when you look back, you're like, well, how the hell did we do that? But we did.
It amazes me when I traveled. I don't travel as much as I used to, but when I would come into town, the first thing I would do when I get a chance is watch the sports news and listen to the sportscaster and look at the paper the next day to see how many took the ride and their reaction to it. And, of course, everyone, they said, wow, I went out, and they'd show them. I was in that car, and what a thrill. And and I think, what could be better for the series than that?
Right. And all the years, and everybody I've seen get out of that car, I've never, and I can honestly say the word never, I've never seen anybody get out and go, well, that's not what I thought it was going to be. Right? It always exceeds people's expectations. So, and I know John has a special discount that we worked with him. But I'll tell you what, if you go on our website and if you ever want to ride or drive and you remember my initials, SJ and the number 1, it cuts everything in half. So if you guys just remember that code, it'll like a 2-seat ride will be $250 instead of $500. A drive will be, well, you can do the math, $1,000 and $500. So you could use my code.
Well, all right. Listen, you better hurry because they'll end up shutting the business down.
No, that's all right. The more people I experience it, the better. That's how I look at it.
Well, I know a lot. I say that every week. If you want to sign up, now you've blown that out, so I'll forget
No,
that.
right.
Mention that you get 20% off. I can't tell you the number of people said, I forgot that. Well, that's your fault, not mine.
And
But
the code and it's for the speedway on our dates, so we don't confuse it. But if it's during a race weekend, those are the 500. The code doesn't work for you. It won't allow you to do it on the race. They're for our dates at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway only.
And how often are you there during a season?
20. What happens with the speedway? We sit down in October and we plan out the next year all the dates. And they go, that's great, that date, that's great. And they push us to take as many dates as possible because we're a profit center for them in many ways. We're a profit center. And then what'll happen is they'll get somebody that wants that date for something else. So we lost one of the dates recently. I think it's somewhere in July, but lately they've been pretty good. But every once in a while they'll pull a date out. And then what happens is we get people from all over the world. In fact, when we canceled this one date, it was a family from England coming, and that they're going to go to the Cubs game. So we work something out with them. So we're helping out. We're going to get them in.
Now, he said you're going to the Cubs game.
Yeah.
This is Chicago's own. Did you see the pictures of him on Facebook with his Cubs hat on the field, working out the world champions? How the hell did you pull that off?
Yeah. Well, gotta love the Cubs. I grew up really close to Wrigley Field, and as a kid, I would go on the bus and hang around. Like our days in the summer, we would just run around the bleachers and stuff like that. And when we were sponsored by Hewlett Packard, the one executive, I told him the story. I love the Cubs, and he goes, "Wow, we do this thing as a part of our sponsorship. We get Wrigley Field for a day. We bring our customers out. You get to wear a uniform. They throw to you and everything." Well, once I learned I was going to do it, I bought my own bat. I went batting glove. I went to the batting cages. I was like, there's no way I'm going to strike out at Wrigley Field. And so I was up 4 times. And if you guys know the Cubs, this is a few years back, Billy Williams was the first base coach, and Ernie Banks was the third base coach. So I hit the ball in the outfield, and I'm running as fast as I've ever run because I'm like, I want to hit a home run at Wrigley Field. So I go first, second, third, and I want to hit an inside the park home run. I get to third base, and then Ernie Banks is saying, no, stop. So he stops me. And I get back to third base. I'm like, I'm all out of breath. And I'm like, I wanted to hit a home run. Then all of a sudden, I was like, am I dreaming? Ernie Banks just stopped me from an inside the park home run at Wrigley Field. I'm like, am I dreaming? What, did this really just happen? So it was fun. But that was through Hewlett Packard. It was a great, great experience. And what they wanted to show me was the reaction of the people at Wrigley Field. They said they get the same reaction when they bring people to do the 2-seater at IMS. So there was a purpose behind it. But for me, I was a Cub at Wrigley Field. My daughter's only 9 right now, but she was there really young, and there's pictures of me in it. And at this point, she still believes I played on the Cubs. I haven't told her I have not. It's a uniform. I'm at Wrigley Field, and we'll just.
Does she believe in Santa Claus still?
Yeah, probably. I'm just Cubs thing. I don't know when that's gonna fall. That'll be bad.
It
when
sure
she
as heck
finds
won't
out.
be you telling her.
Although one last thing, talk about kids and impact. When Lady Gaga did the ride, my wife and my daughter were in our trailer. But I told my daughter loved Lady Gaga. I go, don't say it. There's no way if she's gonna meet her or not. So we pulled a 2-seater in front of our trailer. They had a golf cart, and they were gonna take Lady Gaga away. And all of a sudden, Mario goes, "You got to come in here." He wanted her to sign, and then she wanted Mario to sign the fire suit. So all of a sudden the door opened, they jump in, and my daughter then was 8. She's just like, there's Lady Gaga, and she's staring at her. So I look like a hero there. So I played on the Cubs, and I know Lady Gaga. Is there anything better for a dad?
I'm surprised you waste your time come here.
Oh, come
Jeez.
on. You call me a hero. When you said hero,
You
I told
are.
my wife. Because I've been traveling so much, I promised my wife this week, no, nothing, I will be home all week. And then he texts me, and I'm like, oh, no, not this week. But when I told my wife it was Don, she's like, yeah, you got to go
You
see
go
Don.
see that clown, yeah. Well, you know, it's been fun watching you because I knew you guys when you first started. I knew Jeff and Joe before you got associated with them. And they had a pretty good race team. They worked with some good guys, and they had some pretty good finishes in the 500
Yeah, they did.
during their time. And they worked with some, Big Al, and they had some good drivers and did some good stuff. But to watch you guys evolve into what you're doing, and you're the distributor for Dallara nationwide, I
Mhm.
believe, and you've got your marketing company that
The show cars, and we're working with the U.S. Olympic Committee right now to build a mobile unit, and so we do a lot. And then tomorrow we have Linda McMahon, the Small Business Administration lady who reports to Donald Trump. She's going to come and visit us at our building tomorrow. So there's a big thing there tomorrow. I got to show her around. So then,
for crying out
always
loud.
something. It's always something, Don.
Geez, are you gonna run for governor anytime soon?
No, absolutely not. No,
Okay.
no. Did you see? Okay.
Have you
That would be
taken the governor for a ride yet?
Not this governor, right? But we did Pence. We did Mitch Daniels. So yeah, I'm sure at some time he rode in one of the event cars. He's a pretty big guy, I think, but he should fit, I would think.
Well, I have been told.
Wait a minute, you haven't ridden, right? I keep forgetting.
I
Come
have
on.
a shirt.
Come on, Don.
I have a shirt. These people don't have shirt. I got a shirt.
I know, but you should come. And how do we get him to ride? Wouldn't it be fun? Come on, all these years. What do we have to do? He'd fit. There'd be no problem with it. What do we have to do to get you in there?
Oh, shut up.
Get in the car.
Who's the smart ass that said
Get in
that?
the car. You're always welcome anytime.
I know. Thank you. And I appreciate.
I just want
Now,
you to get in the car.
I was going to say, I have a friend who's a good friend with the governor, and he asked the governor, "Would you come and do the program?" He said, "Sure."
Oh yeah.
Give me a little time to get
Yeah, yeah.
organized. I said, "Well, when you get the key to the executive washroom, that's enough. You'll be here." He said, "Yeah, he'd be glad to do it."
Yeah.
So we'll get the governor in, but I want you to drive him in the two-seater in here. Up here.
He might not fit in the street legal because that's small, but
Oh, I'll have him go on a diet.
there you go. But yeah, the governors have. It's kind of funny because you figure we had Trump and we have Pence. In fact, one of the pictures we're going to show Linda McMahon tomorrow is Trump in the two-seater and Pence in the two-seater.
And she'll say, "I'm next."
Maybe. Yeah.
Are you going to have a car ready in case she does and it's not raining?
No, I think. He's running tomorrow. I think
Yeah.
Sarah may give her a ride around the track in a pace car. Well, not the two-seater, but pace car.
What do you think about Fernando coming here? What do you?
Oh
what do you
gosh, I mean I think worldwide, Mark Miles is with our business partner John Paolo Dallara in Milan. I think today they're doing the press. They were going around Europe promoting. So for the 500, I mean, what a great shot in the arm for worldwide media, right? So that piece is wonderful. I mean, I'm hearing that there might be 300,000 people there again this year, which would be wonderful. So, I mean, it's really, I just feel the series feels, and this is just a feels healthier than it has in the past. And maybe it's because of, different statistics I'm hearing and personally seeing our ride, number of people buying rides up. I don't know what it is, but it feels like we're on an upswing, just to feel.
Well, the last I heard from somebody who knows says the ticket sales this year are ahead of last year at this time.
Oh, that's wonderful. My
Before.
gosh, that would be wonderful.
And as Derek Daly was here last week, and he said what people don't understand is countries, why is Formula One so big? When you go to England, they love Lewis Hamilton, and I forget the other guy. When they go to Spain, it's Fernando. I mean, they back them huge. He said, you watch, there'll be a lot of Spaniards come here. And the television coverage will be enormous in Europe.
Yeah, no,
So
it's a great. That's that's a little bit like the right when drivers would go and run different, especially the big races, right? I'm not sure if I told you this or not. I had an idea once that if I owned the Speedway, I would say if you won the Indy 500 and then you won the Brickyard 400 in the same year, back to back, you get $10 million. But say you don't win, but then you win the Brickyard, and then you have to then win the next 500, a perennial, right? A perennial, and it never stops. And so I was looking into it. I'm like, you can buy an insurance policy for $300,000 or $400,000 for a $10 million. So that would be a wonderful sponsorship. So somebody always, it'll give you the talk value, right? So whoever wins, you see how it worked, right?
Yeah,
It was pretty
yeah.
easy thing. Okay.
Yeah,
He was kind of looking at me like, what the
No,
hell are
I-
you talking
no,
about? I
I-
felt
no,
like
I-
I was on Mars or something.
No, I've heard you
There's
talk.
two races.
Yeah,
and
I've
then,
heard you talk about that before.
then another race, and then they're different series. But wouldn't that be cool? I thought that'd be cool. Like,
Yeah,
so
but you know, the neat thing about
Yeah, I think
Fernando coming here is the president of McLaren from Zionsville.
correct.
Now, Derek said when I was there, there's no way Ron Dennis would allow that. He wouldn't care what you did.
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
But
No, Zach.
Zach
That's
was
wonderful.
all for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's good for McLaren.
It's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
And
Those
gives
are-
Jensen Button something so he doesn't have to go on relief, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. But I think those are the type of things you just, in this day and age, right, you just have to get that something different, a little bit more creative, just a little different. Yeah.
Good for you. And,
Outside the box. I've kind of lived
well, I'll
outside
tell you
the
what,
box.
I
Wanna get in
want
the
you to
box.
thank your wife for allowing you to come down here. It's always fun to talk to you.
It is.
The way you guys are going, it's phenomenal. And what you've done, I think, for the series and have waken up sports writers and sportscasters on television that don't know the sport come out and say, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
It's given them the feel of what it's about. And I
Yeah.
think that helps. I don't know. Apparently people in Phoenix weren't listening, but for the most part, they're doing well.
It doesn't hurt. Let's put it that way,
No,
right? It
absolutely
doesn't hurt.
not.
And that was kind of the original intent when we pitched Tony George, that media would experience it and then would talk about it. And that was kind of the premise that we started the whole darn thing.
And it works because I
Yeah.
used to watch it and see it and wow, great.
Now we got to get that Indy 500 Brickyard.
I know.
It's 2 races.
Yeah.
I like teasing Don.
I'm not sure why I invited you now. All right.
All right, thank you.
I thank you for coming. Good luck for the rest of the year. Whatever you're doing, I hope your graphics business takes
It'll all
off,
work.
and you'll need me to go out and clean trailer or something. So you put
Something like that.
Whatever.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
All right, thanks, Don. Thank
The
you.
Indy Racing Experience, Mr. Scott Jasek, Chicago's own. Thank. We will be here next week. There's a test going on today at Gateway, which took all the drivers out of town. I couldn't imagine why they didn't want to fly back for this. But go to autosportradio.com website, click on the Autosport Radio tab, and you'll see who my guests are. I'm working on several for next week. We'll be here. Want to thank everybody for being here, for watching, for listening. Until next week, Don Kay saying, by the way, for those of you coming into town for the 500 and the Indianapolis Grand Prix, you've got to come to McGilvery's. It's only about 3 miles from the Speedway. After you leave the museum and the A.J. Foyt exhibit, you got to come here. They got great food, great service, and the adult beverages are ice cold. So this is the place to be. McGilvery's, 30th and High School, just about 2-3 miles from the Speedway, straight west. You can't miss it. Till next week, Don Kay saying thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Good night. And by the way, Brett, good luck on your book. And of course, when it gets printed, you'll bring it here. Thanks. See you next week.